Hello, Camilla here, and welcome to finally another card making video. I apologize for a long break, but I really had a lot of things that required my attention. Don't you just hate when life interferes with your craft room time and takes away your creativity? Well, it is back now, so here is another video with a total of 5 cards using embossing paste and distress inks. I hope you enjoy it. So let's get started. I will be using watercolor thick paper of 300 GSM by Canson and the Dreamweaver embossing paste. This is my first embossing paste I ever bought and I love it. I think it creates beautiful colors mixed with distress inks. So far these are the only inks I mixed the embossing paste with. But so far, from my experience, the colors are a bit muted and they come out a little pastel. First of all, I adhered my piece of cardstock using this Tessa masking tape to my cutting board that I love because it has a handle, so I can move my piece whatever I want, if I want to dry it or whatever else I want to do. And I will be using this stencil by Scrapberries. I will put an alternative in the description below by my favorite things. And I will be also cutting out a circle using my circle dies because I want to mask off the centerpiece because that's where I will be stamping the sentiment. So then I took some more masking tape, just a regular type, and I am adhering the stencil to the board so it doesn't move at all. And I will be using a few colors of distress ink on my palette here on the right. It is just basically a laminated piece of white cardstock, and I will be using a total of 4 colors of distress ink. So first one is Mermaid Lagoon. I am mixing that in using my spatula, and basically what you have to do is just smoosh the paste across the stencil, kind of gently. Don't push it in because then it creates the holes in your areas where you want the paste to be. So just try to be gentle with it. And then now I'm gonna mix in the cracked pistachio. Then I will add mustard seed and festive berries. The masking tape that you saw me use here, the yellow one on the screen, is by Tessa, and it's something I found recently by accident and I just love it. It's a very low tack, so it's perfect for all kinds of cardstock, and you can also reuse it when you take it off. You basically just wash off with a wet wipe all kinds of paste or ink and you can use it again. So what I did here is basically I removed the circle and all the tape. I let it dry, and after it dried, I stamped the sentiment. It is from Paper Smooches Blossoming Buds stamp set, and I use VersaFine black onyx ink to stamp it. To finish off the card, I use Avery dotted ELLE-ments die to frame it. For the next card, I also will be using watercolor cardstock and also this Stamplorations stencil called Bold Florals. I adhered it using the masking tape to my surface, and now I will be using these 4 colors of distress ink to fill in the flowers and leaves. I'm using festive berries, picked raspberry, spice marmalade, and mowed lawn. I'm gonna mix all my embossing paste with the colors first. I will be mixing the colors over my stencil. So first of all, I will be doing the petals, or rather the flowers, and so you can either start on the outside going in, so using your red and then the yellow, or you can start with the center of the flower with the yellow and then come in with the red in my case. I would also suggest you would work with a smaller spatula because the areas are kind of small, so it was kind of hard for me to maneuver with my big spatula all over those tiny areas and smooth out the paste so it looks nice and smooth afterwards. But I think it gives a really gorgeous effect if you use your embossing paste over the stencil, and then when you lift it up, and all the flowers and leaves are raised and it just looks beautiful and also very unique, I think. I will here show you how I did the whole piece, and at the end of the video I show you how I put together the whole card. Because I wanted to fit in all 5 cards in the video, I kind of sped it up a few times, but I hope you can still get the idea of how to do it. You basically are applying the embossing paste over the empty areas and fill it out. And what you have to do with that spatula is basically make it even. Every time you apply some paste, what I do is apply the paste first and then go back with the clean spatula to even the surface out. And the last, I'm using Modelon Distress ink mixed with embossing paste to fill out the leaf areas. That was kind of tricky because I kept getting the colorful ink mixed with the green, but in the end I think it turned out really beautiful. So this is how it looks after you take off your stencil, and all you are left with is these gorgeous flowers. Here is the finished card, which I will show you later how I finished off. For the third card, I used the Memory Box Stencil Modern Chic Chevron. This will be a very smooth and quick stenciling where I used mustard seed, barn door, seedless preserves, marmite lagoon, and crushed pistachio distress inks, and I will actually create 2 cards out of this piece later on. What I really love about working with embossing paste also is that you can mix these beautiful colors. Like here you can see that mustard seed blended really nicely with cracked pistachio, and then cracked pistachio mixed nicely with marmite lagoon, and so on and so on. So it creates this really beautiful gradient effect as well. And here's the finished card front. I ripped a little bit of the top part, but it will get fixed later on. And here is the finished card with some gorgeous doodlebug twine. For the 4th card, I'm also using the Scrapberry stencil. I will be mixing similar colors. I'm using Festive Berries, Salty Ocean, Seedless Preserves, Cracked Pistachio, and Mustard Seed. I will be applying the paste in a more gradient way, and I will be mixing the colors. And I must say that from all 5 cards, I think this was my favorite card color-wise. I just loved how it turned out. And this is how the card looks like when you take off your stencil. I really loved how the gradient turned out, and I didn't want to cover it up too much. So now for finishing off all the cards, this is how I finish off this one. I basically used a double-sided tape to adhere the front piece and the Avery ELLE dotted die to frame it. For the flower card, I popped it on the piece of green card base. I think it turned out really beautiful with that gradient of the center and outer piece of flowers. And for this card, I popped it on a piece of craft card base, and I added some fun foam in the middle to pop the card front. I will also be adding a sentiment on top of it. I must say I had quite a hard time finding this fun foam. Luckily I found one with adhesive on one side. I also used on it this dotted frame by Avery ELLE, which die cuts really beautiful dotted frame around my piece. For the next card, I used my favorite thing stitched stacked squares dies, and I cut out this piece out of the Chevron one I created before. And now I wanted to create this card to look like this kind of a Polaroid, but I wanted the embossed piece to be inlaid on the card front. So that's what I did. I used the Tumble Mono liquid glue, and I put some heavy stuff on top so that it adhered properly. And now I will be using vellum and Versamark ink to stamp this sentiment from Avery ELLE stamp set Cake and Candles. I will be heat embossing it using white opaque Wow embossing powder, and that will be my sentiment for the card we've seen earlier. I also will be using my favorite things, stitched square dies, to cut out this square. And I will be using this Tombow Mono liquid glue to adhere it. I only add the glue behind those white letters so that it's invisible later when we add it. Now I am stamping this Make-A-Wish sentiment using VersaFine black onyx ink, and I clear embossed it. Afterwards, die cutting it in the shape of a banner using Avery ELLE dotted dies. And I also adhered it using Tombow Mono multi-glue on the card front. For the square card, I decided to also go with banners. I die cut a few small ones from the same die set by Avery ELLE, and I heat embossed the word hello using white opaque embossing powder. And I die cut these banner shaped kind of flags, and I wanted to stack all three of them, having two colors of a different kind of shade of craft cardstock underneath, so it matches the frame but also gives a little bit of interest. I also adhered it using Tombow Mono multi-glue on top, and later on you will actually see me I added doodleback twine. For the last card, I used the leftovers from the Chevron piece. I die cut the frame using the Avery ELLE dotted frame, and I also cut the craft card base to the same size as my colorful card front. Then I took the My Favorite Things stitched square die, and I cut out the middle part, but I cut it out in the shape of a diamond, so I put it across, so it just gives a little more interest. And after that, I will be using the Avery ELLE sentiment Happy Birthday to You from the Cake and Candle stamp set. I cut it apart so that I could put Happy and Birthday to You underneath it. I'm stamping it using VersaFine black onyx ink. As you can see, I die cut also a square out of craft cardstock to go underneath that green centerpiece, which I popped on a few foam squares. I also added a few sequins from Pretty Pink Posh and I think Neat and Tangled. And these are all 5 cards that I created using embossing paste and distress inks. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so very much for watching. I hope you will come back soon, as there will be more videos coming. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up, and for more information visit my blog. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great and crafty day. Bye!